Just some, oh,
Pre O2 sensor, post O2 sensor, catalytic converters.
those are cats?
Yep. Car just has them all for delete.
See all the oil buildup here. Honestly, it's actually not that bad. Just need to clean all this up. But you see here, the upper oil pan actually looks pretty good. Especially if you go towards the back of the car here, you can see up there where the upper oil pan needs to block. It's actually pretty clean. And you can see the transmission is also pretty clean. Just a small drip at the bottom where the drain bolt is. It's pretty typical. But you can see here at the lower oil pan where it may have been leaking from here. There's also what looks to be leaks right here and up here. And if you come around the front of the lower oil pan, you can also see some more drips around here. And actually, see some build up here where the dipstick tube go down there. So just need to clean all this up and just keep an eye and see where things come back from. Degreaser on the bottom of the engine. Try to get all the gunk out so we can find the source of any oil leaks. Might be a small one, not sure yet. But this will help get everything cleaned up. So you're pulling down the software now already?
So he's backing up the tune.
So this is the engine cleaned. Looks pretty good. All this ducting came out really nice and clean. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close. Hopefully we'll be able to find any oil leaks or anything that's happening. Yeah, there's, I mean, grime on the AC compressor a little bit, but the main things are actually pretty clean. Nice. Well, pressure and temperature, or level and temperature sensor, I think it is. I'm pretty sure the drain bolt washer needs to be replaced. Somebody might not have done that in the past properly anyway. Not bad for a first clean. Any errors or codes yet? Check in. Not yet, right? Let her warm up now. Okay, I was able to reprogram two keys I purchased from Amazon and eBay. Actually, the one key from eBay, it's this key, and I was able to get it cut and delivered with the chip already in it that needed to be programmed for $25, and I programmed it using the AK90 programming tool that you can buy from Amazon. Comes with software, and basically it involves taking the EWS module out of the car, which I did. Involves taking the dash apart, which I kind of had to do anyway for the hood latch cable that was broken. So that was already had to be done. So, but for this, all you really have to do is take the bottom piece out over here, and then take the trim pieces out from both sides up here, like that one, and take the bottom piece out, lay it down. I have the OBD2 port connected still, so I kind of just leave it like this. And once I'm done, which is almost now, I'm just going to put all this back together, and key's working, so hopefully that'll stay that way.
Nice and easy. One in. Okay, now it's stopped, which is good, right? About halfway.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna approach it. There goes some more.
Is it flush?
It's not supposed to be flush. It's about this much exposed.
I don't know what you mean. I can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it? There's about three threads showing. That's what it was before. It's not,
really?
It's not supposed to go flush, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it just stops. That's why you're not supposed to really get on it too much. Because most of the sealing happens in the first half of the bolt.
Okay.
So
So how many threads got in there?
oh, like, well, here. That's how it's showing.
Hmm.
Here's how long it is.
Oh, it's the same one?
Yeah, same one. See it?
Okay.
See that?
Yeah.
So where we've got like 5 threads in at least. All the way in.
Okay.
So. Want to see this? Ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is just regular ratchet.
Good and tight?
I'm just gonna do it. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, we'll just keep an eye on it.
Tight. Yep. I'm happy with that. I guess I just squeeze it, right?
Yeah.
It's working.
It's going in?
Yeah, leaking out a little bit. I'm guessing just because of the residual. Should we stop?
It's dripping?
Yeah. It's like milky now, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
That's the fill one?
This is the drain.
Oh, I thought you already did it.
Yeah, it went a little more.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Maybe sorry you couldn't tell. You can't see this, can you?
Yeah, I think I can now with this.
Alright, ready? Last one. Alright, good enough. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Same number of threads in here.
Looks like the Guibo is pretty shot. It's torn all the way through right there. And then looks like the debris is hitting the top of the heat shield right there above the drive shaft where the Guibo is. All that is just, I guess, disintegrating Guibo debris caked on the heat shield. Pretty nasty vibration in second and third, so I guess this explains a lot of it.
Actually, yeah. For some reason, this bolt is not a 12. That might be a 13.
Want me to get you one?
Yeah. You can.
You need a socket or a wrench?
I need a wrench.
These are the exhaust bolts coming out of the passenger side exhausts. The shorter ones are for the outermost, so and then the longer ones are for the inner. The shorter ones have the nuts, and then one of the inner ones, the long ones, has a nut. The other does not, and it has a welded nut on the exhaust flange. Okay, there we go. Oh yeah, there you go.
I don't think it's supposed to move this much.
Okay, so this is the CSV.
No.
No, sorry. This is the CV joint from the back section of the drive shaft. This is how we found it. And the grease that you see there is also on the inside of the drive shaft. I'm sorry, inside of the differential input flange, I guess, yeah. But yeah, that doesn't look healthy. So I guess we'll be looking for a new CV joint. This is the shifter.
Yeah.
That's wiggling. But then this bushing right here, you said?
Yep. See that?
Yeah.
Going up and
That's
down.
got a lot of play.
A little play there.
So hopefully that'll... And then back
Selector.
here, a lot of play back there. All right. And then there's the shiny, this is apparently really shiny here. I don't know if you can see it, hopefully you can see it in the video, but we believe the Guibo was separating at high speeds and hitting it and rubbing it here. And that's why the shifter was shaking it at high speeds, and when it would get hot, it would do it more. That makes sense, and we could literally feel the hitting, something hitting the shifter, and it would vibrate inside the car. So we think that's it, and you can see from the pictures of the Guibo, it's separating quite a bit, and then when it got hot, it separated a lot more, and you can see all the filings of the black rubber separating as it, you know, hit the, I guess it hit this and polished it, and then it was putting the black rubber powder all over here. Yeah, and there was a lot right there we took out, and I have it outside. Was that dented like that?
Yeah, that was already there.
Yeah, I wonder if that was, okay. But anyway, so we think that's where all that was. So since it spins this way, that kind of makes sense because it was shearing it or shredding it slowly and sending it over there. So that all kind of makes sense now. So this was the material that was stuck on the top of the heat shield right above the Guibo where it was rubbing against the shifter rod, selector rod. So we think that's what was smelling really bad after a ride. It was scraping away.
Okay, so now this is our loosey-goosey, doesn't do anything. This is the, I think this is the UC, right? It's got these like weird looking fixed washers in here.
Yeah.
This does nothing now.
Okay.
So yeah, that is our short shifter.
Does it come out from the top now, or?
This is a lot of play. I think this'll we'll pull the whole thing down actually. Once this comes out.
Oh, okay.
You gotta take a screwdriver, I think, and pull this out, according to their video.
This is the UUC short shifter kit that was in the car. The UUC short shifter rod. And the way it goes in is BMW ones usually have a plastic, it's like a bushing that goes inside there in the ball to hold it in place. UUC came up with this design where they used 3 screws on this side and then 3 screws on this side. But if you notice, 2 are missing. And what typically happens is when these fall out, the shifter, first it apparently starts rotating, which ours was doing. Like when you're driving, it should never be able to do this, but it was. It should never do this, but it was. So eventually when those screws come out, apparently what happens is the shifter can come completely out in your hand and you don't have the ability to change gears at all. So we're going to replace this, we're going to get rid of it, and we're going to replace it with a BMW part, which fits with the plastic bushing that holds everything in place. So hopefully everything will be back to normal. All right, so the hood latch cable latches are out. We had to take the fan off. We didn't disconnect it. We had to take the shroud out. We had to take the bumper off, obviously. Both headlights had to come out because the shrouds bolts go through 2 locations that have screws in them. So that had to be done, like one down here, and that's behind the headlight. So same thing on the other side, it's behind the headlight. For the headlights, the 4 screws, these are pretty shot, so you want to be careful if you may have to replace them. I know I will. See, they're broken. There are 4 electrical connectors, and then the bulb, same on both sides. We didn't disconnect the PDC sensors because the wires were long enough, and we just put the bumper on a creeper to hold it down here. Other than that, it was pretty straightforward. The cable that came out, that was a problem, is very, very rusted, and you can see it here. And we ended up having to break the adapter off at the end because of the cable not working. So
We were using it temporarily with a pair of pliers. That worked. Okay, so on the way back, we'll start putting everything back together. But I'm gonna lube up those latches really good once.
All right. Looks good?
Yeah.
The center support bolts are right between the two dots for the alignment, so it's preloaded.
Okay. Okay, so if you have an E39 M5, then you probably know that you usually will run into a leaky oil pan. So, we've got one of those here. Just bought this car a few weeks ago and went to do the first oil change and discovered that the drain bolt is pretty much stripped. We tried to tighten the nut, it just kept turning. Luckily it still, holds oil, but it drips a good bit. So the options were to get a new pan, but then I did some research and found on the M5 board there's a user. I'll get his name and I'll put it in the comments, but he lives out in Milwaukee, and he repairs these things, and he has a good solution. So I'm going to show you that now.
Okay, so here's what happens when the nut is stripped, just to get a visual. So I'm tightening it, and it feels like it's going to be tight. Get a little closer here. And then it gets tight, and then if I give it just a little bit more, if I try to torque it like it's supposed to be at 17 or 18 foot-pounds, it just gets hard, and then eventually it gets loose again, and then it's loose now. And then I'll just keep twisting it. So it'll just keep turning like this, and that's because it's actually stripped on the inside. So I've done this like 3-4 times now. See, it gets hard, and then it never even like when it gets really hard, it feels like it's it's tight, but it's not, because it'll keep dripping. So, and then it'll just get loose again, and then it'll get hard again. So that's basically kind of where we left it, and it was dripping, but this is needed to be replaced, so that's what we're doing.
Okay, so what he does is he'll take an oil pan that was given to him by a previous owner, and he will basically drill out the oil, the hole, and then he'll put in his own stainless steel insert. This is my nut. I added the nut and the crush washer today. I haven't tightened it down yet, but basically what he does is, I guess I tightened it a little bit. He puts the insert in, drills out the old threads, puts the new insert in that he custom makes out of stainless steel, and then he puts in a nut on the back of it. So my understanding is that the insert has a flare on the outside, and then it goes in, he threads it in, and then he puts sealant on the threads so it's sealed, and then he'll put a nut on it and he'll mechanically lock it in by basically just putting the marks in, or basically chewing up the metal around it to kind of lock it in place so this won't come out again. Also, then what he does is he puts this little drain hole. So that hole basically goes through to the other side. You can maybe see it. Let me see if I can get it on for you. So, the actual drain bolt is blocking it, which is the idea. But basically what it does is it lets the remainder of the oil that's above this nut drain out through there. He says that he's had many people
used this method and he's never run into a problem. So we'll go with it. As far as this line here, I don't know what that is. I'm guessing it was like that from the factory. When I take my old one out, I might see something similar, but I'm not sure. But it looks good. There's really nothing wrong with it. I can't see that type of issue on the outside anywhere, so I guess it's a good pan. Pan's nice and clean, ready to go. I'll hit it with some cleaner on the outside, on the gasket mating surfaces before I put it on. I got my new gasket. I've taken a template of the pan, and I just started with 1 bolt, and that way I'll put all the bolts. I want to use the same exact bolts in the same exact location so I don't run into any issues. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to start draining the oil, and then I'll see how it goes. So here's the drain bolt that I put in. I'm going to take that out real quick and show you the drain hole that he put in. I'll take that out. And we see where he drilled the drain hole, and then on the inside you can see, hopefully there we go, hopefully you can catch that. You can see where the hole is, so that basically lets the rest of the oil out of the pan when you pull the drain bolt out. So hopefully that will do the trick. Okay, so we're draining. Got the whole bolt out, the drain bolt out, and the crush washer wasn't even crushed because we just weren't able to apply that much pressure to it. So this is draining, and then once this is drained, I'm going to start taking apart the bolts over here. I have to take the sensor off, so I'll do that. And there's 3 nuts on there. I'll take those off and get the sensor off. I have a new gasket for that. So new gasket for the sensor, oil level sensor, and then new gasket for the oil pan. And that should take care of it. And again, I'm going to make sure I put these bolts in the proper sequence, so that way when I put them back on, they'll go back in the same sequence. I don't think that's required, but I'll do it anyway. All right. Okay, so the oil pan is out, and just going to inspect for any issues. Don't see anything right now, so I'm going to drain the rest of the oil out of it and then look at it, see if there's anything there. Okay, here's a picture of the actual stripped drain bolt, so you can see where the threads are broken. That's what's causing our issue. So somebody must have just over tightened it before. Very common issue. So I've got the new gasket. This came out pretty clean, so that's good. I'm just gonna clean the mating surface under here. Here's what it looks like under here right now. I said I'll clean the mating surface real good. It actually looks pretty good, so it looks like it's probably been done recently. I don't know how recently, but it's probably been done. It's probably not the factory gasket or pan, maybe. All right. It turns out, here we go. So there's the metal shavings from the threads that are all stripped. There's a bunch of them in here, so all that metal. But luckily, other than that, there's no other surprises in here, as in timing chain guide pieces or anything like that. So that's good news. So this isn't bad, actually, not bad at all. Okay, oil pan is installed. All of these bolts are 10 millimeter, and we torqued them all to 88 inch-pounds. So 88 inch-pounds was roughly 7 foot-pounds. Torqued them all slow, hand tightened them first, just like kind of snubbed, and then went back and torqued them all. Same thing for these. We went with the same 88 foot-pounds and put the new gasket in here, so hopefully it won't leak. And then for the new drain plug, everybody seems to say the best thing to do is just hand tighten it first and then go about a quarter turn. So I did that, and then, but I wanted to kind of test the theory, so I went and used the inch-pound method, or the torque wrench, the quarter-inch torque wrench, and I first did it to 12 foot-pounds, and that was, it didn't move much past hand tight, maybe 1/16 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch. Wanted to go a quarter, so then went to 15 foot-pounds,
and that just went ever so slightly more. So, but we didn't feel comfortable going any more. Only because I don't want to damage it. And this is in stainless steel sleeve, so we shouldn't be damaging anything. But wanted to just be careful. Also, I think the crush washer has crushed a little bit at least. It's got nice firmness to it. So we're just going to go ahead and put oil in it now and see if it leaks, and then go from there. If it leaks, we can tighten it up just a hair more, but I'd rather not rather not mess with it too much. Other than that, everything's back together. We're about to put the exhaust back on. We got the drive shaft back in. We did all that service. So the shifter work is done, all new shifter bushings and everything. So what's left is the exhaust, and hopefully we can start it up tonight or maybe tomorrow morning.
Airdrop it.
We could.
Shifter's nice.
Isn't it like really nice throw?
Yeah.
Like if you go to third right now, it's so good. I think maybe it's that. Maybe. Not now.
Wait, it's later, yeah.
I like suede. I love suede. Because it'll match your.
Ready?
Yep. Keep turning until I tell you to stop. Okay, stop. Go back a little bit. Okay, good. All right, now turn until I tell you to stop. Go slow this time. And stop. A little bit more, just a hair. Perfect, thank you.
That's it?
That's it. Okay, so I had a pretty massive oil leak. Just some history here. This oil pan gasket was replaced a few weeks ago. I had the time insert repair done on this pan. It was done by a guy up in Wisconsin who drills it out, puts a new time cert in it, and then he uses a special time cert where he puts a nut on the back and then he locks the nut mechanically. And he also, so basically this whole insert is locked very tight and sandwiches the pan, so that shouldn't leak again, and it doesn't seem to. But when I get the leak, I get it all over here, including it, gathers here, but it's heavily concentrated right over here where the sensor is. So I've removed the sensor connecting wire for now, but when I took it out last night, this whole area was completely drenched. The connector was drenched. The oil drenches all of this, including the bolts back here, and then also all these bolts here were all drenched, and then also the line, the actual gasket line, you could see oil. So I'm not sure where that was coming from. I don't know if it's spraying from here or what, but I also took a look up here at the dipstick tube, and it was clean. I cleaned it, but it didn't have a lot of oil. I do have a little bit of seepage up coming from the top there. I'm not sure what that is. I'm gonna guess it's valve cover. I have a little bit of seepage on my valve cover grommets, but no major leaks, so I'm gonna kind of leave it alone for that for now. So anyway, I'm looking to try to figure out what's wrong, why this is leaking. The gasket was brand new. The bolts were tightened to spec. I did not put any thread sealer, not thread locker, but thread sealer. I have heard about some people using thread sealer. I have not done it. These are, it shows NF 8.8 bolts. So I'm gonna go look up the specs again.
but I was under the impression from reading reviews and also reading some forum posts and also videos that they should be 88 inch-pounds, but I'll double check. If that is the only thing I can think of, is that maybe if I don't have it torqued right, it's you know, leaking. Anyway, so once I figure it out, I'm gonna leave this open and possibly clean it some to see if I get oil coming out of here. Maybe it forms a drip. I've read somewhere that these have a tendency to leak. Even though I replaced the gasket for it, they could leak internally. So, and since this was all drenched, I'm wondering if that's part of the problem. Anyway, we'll see where it leads me. So this is the fan clutch on the Z3 Roadster, and you can see it's very clean, no movement at all, back and forth. I'm trying to wiggle it. See, nothing, it doesn't move at all. And everything looks nice and clean in there. So, okay, now I'm gonna go over to the M5. Take a look at that one. And we have the clutch, fan clutch over here, and you can see grease on the fins there. It's pretty dirty. Also, you see right behind the nut, there's a like a metal line, like a washer or something. It's really just metal shards coming off of it. And if I were to try to move it, you can hear it move. See how much wiggle there is? Clutch is about ready to just come out, it looks like. And you can see all the metal moving around. Yeah, that's actual metal right there, right between the nut and the fan clutch. Piece, it's like a thin slice of metal. And then as you go around, it comes back around, see? That movement should not be there. I forgot to start video on this, but I started stitching this from here. So far, I've done about 6 inches of a 9-inch section that needed to be restitched. It was all just coming apart like that. So, using a nylon thread, anything else doesn't work. So, so far it's tough going, but it's working. The leather is very, very thick, so it makes it harder. I'm wondering, still not sure how I'm going to do the finished end, because you need to get under it in order to stitch it. So I'll have to figure something out. All right, rolling.
All right, alternator.
Okay, so that's the alternator pulley. Okay, this is the power steering pulley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't really spin a whole lot.
Okay.
But it's fine. There's like this noise that I think is inside the pump itself.
Okay.
But that might just be normal.
Okay.
And this is idler 1.
The top of the idler pulley?
It's just a little bit of play, not much.
Pretty quiet.
Idler 2.
The bottom one?
Focus on that one. Push it up. There. Tear just a little bit of play. And then the actual, whatever that is. Probably the tensioner.
That's a little noisier.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
you might want to wait
on
for the garage door.
yeah. You move on to water pump.
Okay, water pump pulley?
I don't know which way is correct, but
Okay.
if you spin it this way,
Okay.
yeah, just a little bit. Other way, pretty quiet.
Okay.
Pretty quiet. No play whatsoever on the shaft.
Okay.
So, see?
All right.
Hey, no, put over here. No play here.
Okay.
So, crank, and then testing that, and then Here's the idler for the AC.
Okay. About the same noise
Same
as
as
the lower
other-
idler, lower pulley on the other side.
And then this
Spins
one,
freely though. A little bit of play.
a little bit.
Okay.
And go to AC. This one was pretty quiet.
Okay.
Move your camera down. Not this way. There you go. Pretty quiet. Like there's not much going on here.
A little bit of play. Okay. Good.
So, as soon as I say it was on the car like this, it was tight, right? Say it like that?
Yeah.
All I went was like this, that much, probably half a turn or a turn, and its fuel just started seeping out from here and here. But I'm thinking it's because of, see all this cracking
Yeah,
on there?
but easy to get out. So
Yeah, it's easy to
You
get
can
out.
get that, and check that connector between the two hoses where they.
Yeah, this I
Cut
think
it all
is,
up.
it's one of those, you know, the kinds that's like ribbed.
Yeah,
I think it's like that.
yeah, that's a good hose. We just need to get a good one like that. All right.